Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dylan. I'm your host, joined by my blue collar badass, Matt. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing fantastic. Construction is still booming like crazy. We're going gangbusters. Projects are good. I told you last time we met, I finally got my pool heater fixed about 2 weeks ago. Well, the kids were out of town the last week, so it was my wife and I here by ourselves and using the pool yesterday, and it starts making this ungodly noise. It sounded like there was an eagle trapped inside it. And the thing is shaking visibly from side to side. They're here now looking at it, and I walked away when he said the heat exchanger on your 2-year-old heater is gone, and it costs just a little bit less than the whole new heater. I said, oh my gosh. All right, fill it with sand.
Pull in the concrete trucks and put a hot tub on the deck.
Yes, sir. That's what's going to happen pretty soon here.
All right. Well, without further ado, guys, we have an incredible guest who we're super excited to get into his story and really all about the trades. So Steve Turner is a small business owner for the past 30 years in custom upholstery. And like probably all of you know, it's been harder and harder to find skilled professionals, right? Skilled tradespeople, skilled people to do anything, right? Let alone custom upholstery and just the rest of the trades in general. So what Steve has set out, which is going to be the core of today's episode, is really to bring back the trades. So he created a company and organization dedicated to promoting and educating the public on the needs of skilled trades professionals. And it's called Bring Back the Trades, which great name. It's awesome that you got it. To collaborate with local educators, community leaders, local trades, businesses, and all about changing the perception that we talk about here all the time about trades in the educational system. He's doing scholarships for people. Like, this is a truly great organization, a fantastic mission, and something that we're super excited to have you on to talk about, Steve. But first, so welcome to the show. But first thing that I want to get into, and we won't spend the entire show on it, even though I could, is so behind you on your wall is a ton of medals. You want to tell everybody of the race that you just finished?
Yes. Well, thank you too for having me. It's a pleasure being here to tell kind of my story about my life and bring back the trades. But yeah, so I just finished the Cocodona 250. It's actually the second year. It starts in Arizona. They had changed the course this year because we had some fires out there. It was supposed to start like near the airport, but it started, it's awful. I can't remember where it started, but we did a loop. But we ended up in, the finish was in Flagstaff, Arizona. So it was a 250-mile marathon, I say marathon, but it's because of the distance. It's basically through the woods, up over 4 or 5 mountains. The elevation was, I think it was close to 40,000 feet over the 250 miles. We started at 10 o'clock on Monday morning, and I finished Saturday morning, I think at 7:30. So I pretty much ran the whole time. Well, I shouldn't say run, because you don't tell people this. You don't run the whole time. You do running, hiking, walking. You can sleep. A lot of people ask, do you sleep during it? Yes, you do. You pretty much you can do whatever you want to do as long as you can get there in 122 hours. In that time, you can sleep for 20 hours if you're fast. So you can do whatever you want. I only slept an hour and a half because I usually have a team that goes with me, a crew that goes with me. All my races, I've done that. This year, I wanted to see how psycho I could be to do the whole thing by myself with just the backpack. So when you do a backpack, you don't carry like your sleeping gear, and you don't have tent stuff, because a lot of crews, they have trucks where you can get in and you sleep. I hit all of the camps to sleep either during the day or really late at night when it was really cold. So I really couldn't sleep, because once your body temperature gets down to a point where you're really shaking, you shouldn't do that. So make a long story short, I slept, I think, an hour and a half in the 5 days.
That, first of all, that's incredible on a lot of fronts. I have considered myself a runner at certain times in my life, and I've done a few 5Ks. I ran a 10K once, but that is the absolute extent. To even consider running for that length and that amount of time is just, it's mind blowing to me. But it speaks really highly to your mental toughness, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, a little bit later. But you know, being in the trades and being involved in construction, grit, determination, mental toughness are such huge attributes. So congrats to you, man, just for even having the stones to register for something like that. And Dylan, you've done a few similar events. I don't know how you guys do it.
Well, I can say this, you don't really know the whole journey, but in 2016, I weighed 250 pounds. I lost the weight by going from telephone pole to telephone pole. Literally, I couldn't get from one telephone pole to the next. So I gradually, within a year, I lost a lot of weight. That's how I got hooked on the running. But you know, when you say you can't imagine it, you can if you really. It's being passionate. I have friends that golf 5 times a week. They're passionate about it. They get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and they can't wait to hit the links. I have people that go fishing for tuna. They're out there for 3 days. We all have our little gift. I have a customer that came in the other day and he was, you know, picking up his car and he's like, I can't imagine what you do. He's an F-16 pilot or whatever the one that Tom Cruise is flying. I'm like, what you do flying at 9 Gs? I mean, come on, you can't imagine what I do. I can't. So we all have. I like to just tell everybody we all have our strengths.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, like, so just for reference, so 250 miles, you did it. What was your time to finish?
116 hours. I came in, I had like 5.5 hours left.
So that's, yeah, like 6 days, 5.5 days of time to, or yeah, 5 days, like just under 5 days of time running pretty much straight through, climbing 40,000 feet. So you climb 8 miles over 250 miles. Of course, in the Arizona desert in June, for everybody listening.
And we also had to cross 2 rivers by rope.
And well, and it's monsoon season in Arizona, and Flagstaff is at 7,000 feet. So you don't start at sea level. So, or 8, whatever Flagstaff's at. Because everyone, like, or for me in my mind, Arizona is like low, but that is not the case. So to give everybody that those insights to it, and then on top of that, to self-support for a race, most people don't even do that for a marathon, let alone 10 of them back to back. So to do all of that is, I mean, it's incredible. Like, I've been chasing 100 for a few years, and getting over the night and being out there alone in the middle of the woods and, you know, worried about a bear or cougar or something else to jump out and get me, or falling off a cliff. Like, those are legitimate things actually to like get through. But for everybody out there, like, you know, doing your local 10K, doing a half marathon, a marathon, you know, getting up into ultras when you're, you know, doing things in the woods in the daylight, not the middle of the night, you know, is totally possible, totally doable. And just to give you an example, so Steve, I'll let you tell the story of the woman that was in the race that you were just in.
Yeah. So, you know, I was telling you earlier that, you know, I always come out of these races proud of myself, but prouder of somebody else. There was a woman, there was 2 women I'll talk about, but there was a woman that had one leg taken off she was, I don't know what military she was in. I don't know if she was in the Army, but anyways, she was running with a fiberglass leg, and she was also running with a flag to represent all the fallen. She finished the race running the whole race, not only with only one leg and a fiberglass leg, but the flag never came down. I mean, you can't picture what we go through, but to have the arm up like that, if you've ever tried to hold your arm up above your head for a certain amount of time and you sit there in the blood pressure, for her to do that, you know, it just blows my mind, that because she's so determined. But I also ran with a woman that was 62 years old and about 5'2", and she finished 15 minutes behind me. So I'm telling you, these races, it's all about determination. Life, I hate to say it, but life is about determination. It's really what it is. So, like I said, I love these races because I meet so many people. It makes my passion for bringing back the trades even stronger, because like, I know I can do that. So if I can do that, I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'll tell one last endurance story, and then we can go over to the other passion here is construction. But so I really encourage all of you to go, and with Ironmans coming back, is to go and be at the finish line of an Ironman.
Mhm.
Now, Ironman historically starts at like 7 a.m. and the first wave of people are the super fit guys. They're going to finish in 8 hours. So they're going to finish at 3-4 o'clock. You can go and watch those guys finish. It's on a Sunday, typically, is when the races are. And you can go watch those guys. They're in tremendous shape. They're 6% body fat, lean guys, super fast. They're running a, 2.5 hour marathon. They're doing 30 miles an hour on a bike. They're swimming 2.5 miles in under an hour. Like, these guys are true elite athletes that are finishing, at the front of the pack for an Ironman. But really the more inspiring thing is when you start to get around and this is like the time frame that I finish in, is the 14, 15, 16 hour finishers, right? So Ironman finishes at midnight, or that's the cutoff, is midnight for whatever place you're in. So it's 17 hours is the time frame. And you'd be amazed at the people that you see crossing that finish line at 10, 10:30, 11, 11:30. These guys are of every body type, of every age, ethnicity. It really doesn't matter. You see a 23-year-old sucking wind, or he quit, after the, halfway through the run, right? Because an Ironman's a 2.5 mile or 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 mile run. So, and you do that back to back in a day, and you have cutoffs through the day. But the thing to remember is that, like, most of the 23-year-olds blow their wad by, the the start of the run. So they're completely shot, right? The young guys, like, Ironman is traditionally, like, the winners of these races are between 35 and 45. Like, that is the main winning age bracket, is like 37-year-olds for Ironman. You get a few guys under that, you get a few over, but that's like the bracket, even for Kona, for the world championships. So, but when you're there at 10:30, 11, 11:30 at night, you see guys that like weigh 280 carrying a keg. I mean, these dudes are huge. They're big guys. And you're like, how in the world is this guy, who looks like he just downed a case of beer before he came out here, doing, 140 miles, right? Like 140.6 miles in a day. And then behind him is a 72-year-old grandma who's 5'0", weighs, 100 pounds soaking wet, and she's trudging along. Like,